Every morning before the sun rose, an old man in torn clothes swept the corridors of the same school that once threw him out for being poor. His name was Abdul Karim, 60 years old, thin, quiet, and invisible to most. For over 30 years, he cleaned the same classrooms where children dreamed of becoming doctors, engineers, and pilots. Yet no one ever asked what his dream was. Every day, Karim arrived before anyone else. He would pick up the chalk pieces left on the floor, arrange the benches perfectly, and gently dust off the blackboard. The teachers greeted him with a quick nod, sometimes not even that. To the students, he was just the old janitor. But behind those tired eyes lived the spark, a dream he had carried since childhood, to study. Years ago, Karim was a brilliant student. He loved books, especially stories about people who changed the world. But poverty was cruel. His father fell sick, and at just 13, Karim left school to work as a cleaner. One day I'll study again, he had promised his teacher. That one day turned into decades. Even while mopping floors, he listened from outside the classrooms. When teachers explained math formulas or history lessons, Karim silently repeated the words. He memorized them, as if collecting pieces of a puzzle he'd someday complete. Sometimes, after everyone left, he sat on the back bench, opened old books left in the lost and found cupboard, and began to read. The guard would find him there, smiling like a child. One rainy evening, a young teacher named Sarah noticed him reading. "Uncle Karim," she said softly, "you really understand all this?" Karim smiled shyly. "Beta, I may not have a degree, but I have never stopped learning." From that day, Sarah began bringing him books, simple ones at first. Slowly, she helped him learn grammar, history, and even basic computer skills. Every night, after cleaning the school, Karim would sit under the dim streetlight outside his small rented room, reading until his eyes hurt. Years passed. His body grew weaker, but his mind grew stronger. One day, Sarah told him, "Uncle, you can appear for the open school exams. I'll help you fill the form." Karim hesitated. "At my age?" She smiled. "Dreams don't retire, uncle." And so, the janitor who never finished school became a student again. He faced humiliation. Students laughed. People called him crazy. "You think sweeping floors will get you a degree?" they mocked. But Karim never answered. He just worked silently and studied harder. The night before his exam, he cleaned the entire school as usual, washed his only shirt, and sat reading until dawn. When the results came, Sarah ran to him, tears in her eyes. "Uncle Karim, you passed. You did it." Karim just looked at the sky and whispered, "Abba, your son kept his promise." Years turned into more milestones. Karim didn't stop at passing school exams. With Sarah's encouragement and community support, he completed college through evening classes, then went on to earn a degree in education. By now, his story had started to spread. Local newspapers wrote about the janitor who returned to school. People who once ignored him began greeting him with respect. But Karim never let pride replace humility. He still arrived early to school, not to read, not to sweep. Then came the day that changed everything. The school's old principal retired suddenly, and the management needed someone who truly understood the spirit of education. During a staff meeting, Sarah stood up and said, "Sir, I know someone who has lived every corner of this school from its floors to its classrooms, someone who knows what learning really means." The room went silent. Then, she said it clearly, "Mr. Abdul Karim." The board members looked at one another in disbelief. "A janitor as principal?" one whispered. But the chairman, an old man with kind eyes, spoke up. "If anyone deserves this position, it's the man who never gave up on education even when the world gave up on him." And so, in front of students and teachers, the announcement was made. Abdul Karim, once the janitor, became Principal Abdul Karim. The same classrooms he once cleaned were now his to lead. The same corridors he mopped were now filled with students standing in line to shake his hand. On his first day as principal, he addressed the assembly. His voice trembled, but his eyes shone. "Years ago, I was thrown out of this school because I couldn't pay the fees. Today, I return not to take revenge, but to remind you that education is not about money, but about courage. Never let your background decide your future." Tears rolled down the faces of students and teachers alike. Even those who once mocked him stood with bowed heads. That evening, after everyone left, Karim walked alone through the silent school. He stopped by the old storeroom where he had kept his broom all those years. He touched it gently and whispered, "Thank you, you were my first teacher." Outside, the sunset painted the sky golden just like his story. Ending message. Abdul Karim's journey became a legend not because he became a principal, but because he proved that no dream is too small, and no age too late. He taught the world that education has no uniform, only determination, and that sometimes, the one who cleans the floor today might be the one leading the school tomorrow.